can you please share with me later?
Yeah, definitely.
Because
Yeah, I will send. Not a problem.
I have, paid for the server and we bought the server.
Oh,
It
okay.
is a 7.3 SAP BI 7.3 server,
Uh-huh.
and there are a lot of new topics which I have to,
Uh-huh.
start again. Like there
Uh-huh.
are hybrid providers and semantic,
Oh, okay.
etc. Transient providers. All these are important,
Okay.
and there are a lot of changes. I
Oh, okay.
thought that there is only hybrid providers is what I know.
Oh, okay.
Very famous. And, SPO semantic partitioning objects are the new ones, and
Mm-hmm.
like for all the DSOs and
Oh,
info cubes, it is an added feature.
oh, okay.
There are
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things we have to discuss in 7.3 as well.
Oh, okay.
I have shared the credentials which we need for this, like
Okay.
welcome,
Uh-huh.
server and welcome,
Okay.
and then SAP server and number one.
Okay.
I mailed you all the
Yeah,
credentials.
I looked at that.
So basically, I was making it ready
Okay.
because I have changed the system. I have to load some track files, which we discussed already.
Okay.
Today we are going to discuss about the virtual info providers.
Okay.
There are two types of virtual info providers mainly. Those are multi-providers and infosec. Other virtual info providers are real-time info cubes, which we have discussed, and in info cubes itself, when you are creating info cubes, there are three types of info cubes, which are virtual.
Mm-hmm.
In real-time info cubes, either you have direct DTP,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a functional module and service info cubes. These three types of info cubes are virtual info cubes.
Okay.
Here I have created this SAP training folder, and here I have loaded some master data and uh, one transaction data.
Mm-hmm.
We have to load some DSO as well. So, I will do it later.
Okay.
We can discuss it later. And then now we will see what virtual providers are. So basically, generally we have access to the physical data targets in BI,
Mm-hmm.
and there is only one part of the requirement: loading data in the physical target. is only one part of the requirement, and other than that, we have activities like consolidating the data from different physical input providers like that. So for all these processes, we need, there was a need, and because of that, we have virtual info providers, and there are virtual info providers like service info cubes and remote cubes and multi-providers in InfoSets. So here basically multi-providers are union query based on the union query, and InfoSets are SQL query.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the main difference between multi-providers and the InfoSets. So we use multi-providers to consolidate the data from different data targets and to have a union of the data in one data target. For example, you have some 3, 4 info cubes and 2 or 3 DSOs, etc. And you want to consolidate all the data. You can do that
Mm-hmm.
with the help of multi-providers. So there is the functionality multi-providers provide. It is a union query.
Okay.
So even though if we don't have, I mean, more than one info provider to add to the multi-provider, it makes sense to have a multi-provider in even though in such cases, because it makes, it provides us another layer for the reporting purpose. For
Okay.
example, in real time, for example, you only have one info cube, and you have, for one info cube, you can do the direct reporting, direct queries you can build on the info cube. So there is no need, basically, there is no need for the multi-provider. But if you have a future, if you think about the future, maybe in future you will have another info cube which makes the partition of the cube. For example, you have we have US data, and now a cube for the US now, and the similar cube, similar cells cube, we will have different cube. We may have a different cube for Canada or Europe, Asia Pacific. So
Mm-hmm.
region-wise, we may have different cubes. Now, at present, we have done the implementation for US, and maybe in later we will do the implementation slowly for other regions as well, and we will have other cubes. So in that case, maybe you know there is a possibility that we need a union of the data. We can do the reporting separately, as well as we need a union of the data. So for that purpose, it is better to have a multi-provider as a layer above the data target, even though there is only one data target. For example, there is InfoQ 1 and there is InfoQ 2. We have field 1 Hi.
Hi, Shahid.
Can you share screen and can you share screen
Uh,
can you see my screen?
no, not now.
I don't see sharing screen because this is the second time I'm calling and now there is no option
Oh,
for
oh,
sharing purpose.
oh, how is that possible? Okay.
But
How is that possible? I don't know.
yeah, now it is activate.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, it's fine. I can see the screen now. Yeah.
So we were talking about the multi-providers, and for example, there are two info cubes, and you brought them into context
Okay,
in under one multi-provider.
okay.
So these two info cubes have the different field one, field two, field three, field four, and key figure one, two, like that. So the union query will be like field 1, field 2, field 3, and field 2, field 3, field 4, and then key figure 1, 2, 3. That is the union query. So it will just add the fields. So that is the idea of multi-provider generally. So multi-provider is the union of the query, and then it will add the fields, add up the fields, and it will consolidate the data. And it will form another layer. For example, if you can create queries on top of multi-provider, you can create queries here, as well as you can create individual queries without disturbing anything here as well. So for this purpose, multi-providers are useful, even though if you only have one info provider. And you have, for example, this field is not just field 1 if it is zero material. And and here you have and you want to bring them into context. So here you have zero material and Z material, but you know that these two are similar ones, and you don't need to repeat them. And for that purpose, there is an identification process, and you can identify using these two material. You can identify one, either zero material or Z material, and there is for the characteristics. Characteristics identification is there. But for key figures, there is no such process. Means you can bring these two into context, and you can select one of them. But what if you have uh, material cost? Say you have zero material cost and Z material cost. It will treat as two different info objects, and they will be treated separately, and both of them will be added. There is no such identification process for key figures in multi-provider. So, if when you choose this in multi-provider, you have a union. All these fields are there. Say this is customer. Vendor, key figure, amount, and so for this two cubes, if you consolidate in a multi-provider, you will have say for example you took zero material, not the you haven't took the material from InfoCube 2. You wanted the material from InfoCube 1, so you took it. So you took customer, and you took vendor. These are the characteristics, and then you took material cost, and we have added cost. So this will be info provider, multi-provider. This is the union query. So in this union query, if you have a and in this, if you don't have a relevant characteristic for M001, there will be a value hash. I don't have hash in my computer. So
Yeah, it's here. Okay.
sorry?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, here, I mean, the keyboard, I've done some US or UK, some kind of installation.
Uh-huh.
I didn't see that, and I don't want to reinstall it because there's a lot of data.
Okay.
Here you can see you have, there is a material M001, and if for that, relevant value is not available, for example, for any value, any material number or any key number, if the relevant characteristic is not available, then the result will be in the result hash will be displayed for the characteristics. And for example, if just like the vendor you have and 100, 20, and there is no key figure, so 0 will be displayed for the key figure. So this is this is what you have to remember. For the key figures, 0 will be displayed if there is no relevant, value. So for the characteristics, hash will be displayed. Because here what we are doing, we are taking from two different cubes, right? We are bringing two different cubes into context. In this case, when you bring two different cubes into context, with the help of the union query, so in this case, what will happen? There will be some values available in cube one. For those relevant values, there won't be some. There will be some values missing in cube two. So in that case, what will happen in the result of the multi-provider is, for example, you have created a query based on a few characteristics from InfoCube 1 and few characteristics from InfoCube 2. So, from characteristics from InfoCube 1 have values and characteristics from InfoCube 2 don't have a value. In that case, the multi-provider will provide hash for the characteristics and 0 for the key figures. This is important. Point. That is the important point. You have to remember that. So generally, multi-providers can be, and you can add anything. Multi-providers are very flexible, and not only physical info providers, but you can add virtual info providers as well, like service info cubes or real-time info cubes, anything, but not other multi-providers. So let's see the team system. Here we have a cube, ZSLSIC, and we have Z material name number.
Mm-hmm.
So we will consolidate both of them. So right click on the info area and create multi-provider. So you have to give the multi-provider name. So you can create this, and you will see the different here. You can see this in this pop-up. You can see there are different data targets, and all the data targets available in the system are here.
Okay.
So you can see when you see data store objects, all these data store objects are available in our system. And info cubes, similarly, there are semantic partitions are there. This is hybrid providers, and SPOs are new in 7.3. And the info objects, info sets, aggregation levels, we use it for planning data, BPC.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is available in all the data targets are available except other multi-providers. You can add any other data targets to the multi-provider. So here I am adding info cube. My info cube is ZSLSIC. Mm.
Yeah.
And then I have a material number. I want to add material number. So it is basically to show, example. Generally, we can add some one or two info cubes, or we can add data store objects like that. So, that mat NM is 9, someone else's is MN.
Okay.
So after selecting your info providers, you have to click continue. Say what I have selected now is one info cube, and then I have selected a info object, and you can see that here.
Yeah.
Then when I expand it, you can see that this is a screen of multi-provider. In this, you have the cube,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the material number. So here you have navigation attributes and key figures and all the dimensions available in the system, in the cube. So these are the dimensions, 3 dimensions available in the cube,
Okay.
and this is the unit dimension. So based on on this, you can select anything. If you have, navigation attributes, material number. Material number, you have key and attributes, right?
Yeah.
The master data info object, and these are all attributes for the master data.
Yes.
So like that you can, this one you may be familiar with the InfoCube screen, right? It looks like the InfoCube itself.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you, get it? Can you remember InfoCube? Like you
Yeah.
have time, unit, and data package. These
Yes.
three dimensions, just like the, the SAP given dimensions in the InfoCube, it is
Mm-hmm.
the same as that.
Okay.
And then you have another 13 dimensions to create yourself. But the only thing is that multi-providers don't have physical structure. They
Okay.
share the data of other data types.
Okay.
So InfoCubes have physical data structure. They have tables and they store the data, actual data.
Okay.
So there is a difference between multi-providers. Here, for example, I can change the dimension name and I can keep it as as I want, like customer ID or something. I
Mm-hmm.
want.
Come on.
I called it twice and it twice or thrice. Like you can see,
Oh.
it was not responding.
Okay. Um,
It it will take, I guess, what.
yeah.
So like that you can create whatever you want. You have to add the fields.
So here we you changed some name, right?
Yeah,
You
the
renamed. Yeah.
dimension one, I have changed it to customer and I have dropped the customer identity here from the customer. This one
Uh-huh.
here, this info object, I have dropped it. And
Okay.
then I have created another material dimension and I have dropped the material number. Just like that, you can, if you want the material color with the material number, which is not available in the info cube,
Mm-hmm.
you can add the color here and you
Okay.
can add the location. So, for example, you can consolidate the data like that, and then you have to at least have one key figure, right? So I will keep all the key figures. So you can keep all the key figures. Just you have to drag and drop.
Okay.
Hold the mouse, left click, and leave it here.
Okay.
And after doing this, For example, you have here you have identification.
Mm-hmm.
On the top, you can see here
Yeah.
you have identification of characteristics, and you can select the key figures right besides that. You don't have identification of key figures, but you can still select the key figures that you want, and you can leave the key figures that you don't want. You click on the identification.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I only have one, uh, queue here for the customer,
Mm-hmm.
which is same customer, so it is only showing one. For example, if I am adding 5, 6 info providers,
Mm-hmm.
and if I have same customer from 3, 4 info providers, all that will be shown here.
Okay.
All that will be shown in the different lines, like 3, 4 lines will be shown for the customer itself. So in that case, I have to make a decision either I want the Z customer or zero customer or just normal customer. Either I want it from this info provider or from some other info provider. I
Mm-hmm.
can make the decision by clicking, identification here.
Okay.
So this is basically called as identification process.
Okay.
So generally, we have to identify. You can see the material number is available in two info objects,
Mm-hmm.
two data targets, one from the Z material info object and one from the cube.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I want the cube material, not the master data. So, I have to do the identification here. This is where you have to do the identification.
Okay.
So here they're all done. Like, I have identified all of them. So you can continue with this. And just like that, you have to go for the key. You can see there will be a description, info providers will be there, and the key figures. You have to identify them. You have to select them, not identification.
Okay.
Because if you have zero amount and if you have Z amount, these two will be identified as different key figures, not as same key figures in BI. For the key figures, because they are summable attributes.
Okay.
So those two are different. And when it comes to the characteristics, you can identify them. Now you can activate. So there is the process.
Okay.
So it is activated. Let's see. Now, version.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can see this. And when you expand it, you will see the underlying info provider. So, for example, if you are using a cube here in the multi-provider, you can directly delete the, cube here. Unless you delete the multi-provider, you cannot delete the queue.
Okay.
So like that, there are dependencies.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you delete it here, you cannot delete it there. Just like that, if you are using the info object in another data target, or 3-4 data targets, you cannot delete info object.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are already using and you have to see the highest layer, and then in that layer, for example, you have info object. You have to delete the info object in the highest layer, like either cubes and DSOs, and then you can delete from other if it is used as attributes, etc. So just like that, you have to, you have to take care about the, dependencies. So this is about the info. We have multi-provider.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the list queue to view uh, I mean, uh, the output will be better in list queue. There won't be. So this is the output of the consolidation, as you see from two data targets. We have the consolidated data.
Okay.
So there is a transaction list cube. In list cube, you can see the output. Generally, for the multi-providers, etc., you have to go. Here you can choose whether you want technical names or not, like that.
Mm-hmm.
So depends on the identification of the data type. Generally, there is, for example, there other than the context,
Mm-hmm.
for the performance reason, it may make sense to prohibit individual subqueries. So for that purpose, there are four types of uh, uh, addressing, like in order to either you include or exclude the data providers, data target in a multi-provider. There are four types. Fixed addressing, and so in this for the I mean either to include or exclude the subquery
Mm-hmm.
of a multi-provider of data target in a multi-provider, you have four options. Either by fixed addressing of info providers, either by key figure selection or selection by fixed values and selection by OLAP. So fixed addressing of info providers for this purpose in a query, you will have a zero info provide. There is an info object called zero. So this info object is available in query designer. With the help of this, you can either include or exclude a particular data target in a multi-provider. So the another option is another way to exclude is for key figure selection. For example, data provider is not providing a key figure from particular data target, then that data target can be excluded from the definition of the multi-provider. So further, there is the key figure selection. For example, the info Q1 is providing some key figures, info Q2 is providing one key figure, and info Q4 is not providing any key figure. It
Mm-hmm.
will accept the Q4. So it doesn't have to read all the whole queues. Only the data which is provided to the multi-provider can be read in the while running the query runtime.
Mm-hmm.
So for that purpose, there will be a good performance, and for that purpose, we have four options. One is selection by fixed values, and these are like if you have a characteristic, you have a company code, a particular company code. According to that, it will read the data. So there is a fixed values, and selection by OLAP things is similar to the fixed values, and it is not better in performance way. So these are the four we have. Generally, subqueries is a bit deeper knowledge. You generally uh, you have to. I have given notes here.
Mm-hmm.
Here up to here is enough. You don't have to know the subqueries, types of subqueries.
Okay.
Uh, First, you have to see the modeling of the multi-provider, and then you can do the rest.
Okay.
So, Infosys has another, um, and there's another virtual provider we have. So, other than multi-providers, we have Infosys, and we are going to talk about Infosys tomorrow
Okay.
because it is a time for another batch.
Okay.
And here, Infosys, there are inner joints and outer joints we have discussed in ABAP.
Mm-hmm.
Inner joints and outer joints. It is the same logic, and Infosys in ETC also similar to this. So, we are going to discuss about Infosys now.
Okay.
The options. And another thing is there is no result here, and we'll see what actually happened. For the maybe there is no data so you can use this system. I guess your system is expired.
I'm sorry.
Maybe expired today. Maybe your system will expire today.
Okay.
You
Okay.
can
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I will see tomorrow. After
Okay.
I will explain it tomorrow again.
Okay.
And info set I will explain tomorrow.
Okay.
Alright, we have a good time. I will see you tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, Chad. I'll send you the video.
Which one?
I will send you the video, today's video.
Yeah, if you are sending it once in a week, it is okay. Because if we are doing daily on Skype, then you can send it once in a week or whenever in weekends. Like that.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.